Bob Marley once said, "In this bright future, you cannot forget your past, for history has a tendency of repeating itself." Egypt, considered the cradle of civilization, testified that ancient Egyptians experienced the earliest developments of writing, agriculture, mining, urbanization, organized religion, and central government. History also records ancient Egyptian was the first to have an organized army. Its vast iconic historical monuments have remained a significant focus of study for many archaeologists worldwide, and modern Egyptians have not forgotten to safeguard this rich historical past. Thus, in March this year, the Egyptian Agency of Partnership for Development in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs received some 38 African senior journalists and media persons from 25 African countries. Their visit was aimed at giving the media professionals a chance to practically witness the social, economic, cultural, and political success stories that Egypt has recorded since its last two revolutions of 2011 and 2013 that eventually ushered in President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi.
هنشيل بلدنا على كتافنا، مش هنسيبها ومش هنضيعها ومش هنخلي حد يقدر يضيعها.
It was a visit that emphasized President Sisi's commitment to re-engage with the rest of Africa for friendship associations and stronger economic ties. The program, therefore, outlined Egypt's keenness to consolidate its ties with all countries in Africa and its willingness to support the liberation of African countries and the right of its people to self-determine their future through comprehensive and sustainable development across the continent. Egypt confessed the media is the main pillar, with an important role to make the continent stronger by telling a truthful African story. A story that says, unlike the misrepresentation of facts that has polarized the concept of civilization, Africa is indeed the first culture, as all form of civilization developed from it. Hieroglyphics was invented in Egypt as the first form of civilization, followed by rock paintings, which abound in many Egyptian tombs, including many African caves. The media professionals were afforded an opportunity to visit various key Egyptian institutions on an open dialogue platform. Site visits were made to strategic institutions such as the Egyptian Museum, which boasts of 200,000 original Egyptian pieces of history, the Egyptian Media Production City, which is Egypt's own version of its little Hollywood that has generated billions of Egyptian pounds as foreign and local film producers stampede to hire it for a setting that tells ancient history. When President Sisi took office, his inauguration speech committed to upgrade and reform all state institutions and make the fight against corruption their motto. For that reason, the Egyptian Anti-Corruption Authority was created with a 2014-2018 national strategy to be the protector of the state. Thus the motto, Egypt is stronger than corruption, together against corruption. With constitutional guarantees, the Egyptian Anti-Corruption Authority works in partnership with key stakeholders in its roles, which include monitoring customs procedures at ports of entries, follow-up field visits, monitoring the legal procedures taken on pricing, negotiate and engage investors to remove all red tapes and offer youth training. The authority took a deliberate policy to define corruption as encompassing norms such as overpricing, monopoly, cheating, not paying social protection levies, wasting public expenditure, lack of internal control audit, and absence of media support to interrogate social ills, as well as bribery. The agency boasts of having bust corrupt government officials, exposed human organ trafficking syndicates, and bribery of state council finances. Courtesy visits were also paid to the Constitutional Court, the Special Forces, the Police Training Academy, and to the many cultural centers like the Giza Pyramids and religious venues such as the First Christian Church named the Hanging Church, the Center of Islamic Religion at the Al-Azhar University, the Coptic Orthodox Church led by Pope Tawadros II, as well as meeting business people, parliamentarians and diplomats. Egypt boasts of the biggest Islamic institution in the world. With an over 1,000-year-old Al-Azhar, the center is the beacon of religious knowledge that spread Islam and disseminate its true teachings in all Islamic countries, including non-Arab nations in Asia and Africa. The Al-Azhar says real Islamic religion speaks of tolerance, equality, and accepting one another, as we are either brothers in religion or brothers in humanity. The Grand Imam of Al-Azhar added, the organization is against the spread of terrorism, which has seen radical Islamic groups distort the tolerant image of Islam, hence the hosting of the Confrontation of Extremism and Terrorism Conference in 2014 that brought together distinguished patronage from Arab and Islamic East Sunni and Shia Muslims, as well as Christians of different denominations and creed. Among the guests was also His Holiness Pope Tawadros II, the Pope of Alexandria and Patriarch of the Holy See of St. Mark. The conference concluded with a recommendation document termed the Al-Azhar Universal Communique that had 10 resolutions on how to fight terrorism. During the tours, the media also had a chance to also visit the economic hubs of the Suez Canal and the city of Luxor, famed as the capital of world tourism. For a country that has no rainfall, the city of Luxor shows Egypt's undying spirit at defying odds as it turned the Great Nile River to provide irrigation, transforming the desert into a green belt that boasts of agricultural exports in crops such as tomatoes, onions, and bananas, among many others. The Nile has remained the symbol of life for the Egyptians for thousands of years, together with being a lifeline, as it provides the oasis for development and cooperation among member states of the basin. Luxor, positioned some 1,200 kilometers away from Cairo, is also a living testimony of the successful story of sustainable green energy initiatives. Apart from boasting of all its vast pyramids, including the famous Valley of Kings, that is 64 tombs of ancient Egyptians, Luxor is powered by solar energy harnessed from the abundant sun in this desert area. As the program unfolded, it was clear Egypt's nationalization of key projects, top among them the construction of the new Suez Canal, the Great Egyptian Pyramid, was powering the Arab nation into the lead ahead of many African states. It is the Suez Canal, a symbol of Egypt's progress and independence, built in 1869, that proves to be the artery of prosperity and peace to Egypt, its people, and the whole world. With 10% of world trade using this canal, potential increase in volumes of world trade made Egypt realize the need to construct a new Suez Canal to increase trade movement efficiency and effectiveness. The President El-Sisi-led government nationalized the creation of a new Suez Canal and linked it with the Suez Canal Area Development Project. This was to be, they say, Egypt's gift to the world. Its construction, solely funded by Egyptian money, tells a tearful story of Egypt's engineering ingenuity, willfulness, and unquestionable patriotism. It tells the story of a nationalistic desire to advance state's interest, of feelings of one's devotion to his or her country and its culture and way of life.
زي الناس ما بتساعد يا حبيبي، ما أنا أقل من اللي بيساعد. ومن حق ان انا اساعد، لو ان انا مش هعيش كمان 5 سنين بس برضه بساعد باللي بقدر عليه.
ربنا يوفقه كلنا معاه. وانا لو احتاج مني شغل لقناه السويس اروح اشتغل في قناه السويس، مش عيب، ده بلدي يعني.
عشان مصر. فايده ايه؟ مش عايزين فايده، ده عشان مصر.
ربنا بعته لينا.
انت حبيب الشعب المصري وحبيبي انا شخصيا، وربنا يخليك لينا.
جايه اساعد بلدي، احط الفلوسات اللي معايا، وحتى لما اموت هسيبهم لبلدي. اقول له يا ريس ربنا معاك وينصرك على مين يعاديك، وانا بدعي لك كتير قوي 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 قوي، وانتخبتك ودعيت لك حياتك يا ربي ان انا بحب الراجل ده، راجل بريء وطيب، بعتهولنا ربنا من السماء، بعتهولنا عشان نعيش شرفاء.
والجهد مصري. شعب لا توقفه جبال ولا تعوقه ملايين الأمتار من الرمال ولا تهزه الأحداث. نعم، إن كانت المعدات هي الأضخم، هي الأحدث، إلا أن عزيمة الشعب هي الأكبر ليحقق أرقاماً قياسية جعلت العالم ما بين منبهر وغير مصدق.
زي دلوقتي لو كان لي عمرة وإن شاء الله نصير لهم العمر، نيجي ونفتتح المرحلة ديت ونعبر القناة الجديدة 35.
يتحقق الوعد ويقدم الشعب المصري هديته للعالم، قناة السويس الجديدة.
حيوا العالم وخلوا راسكوا فوق معاه، وهو فوق شط القناة عظيم وعالي في السماء، شافكم بتحفروا ابتسم. حيوا العالم حسوا بقيمته وارفعوه فوق كل حاجة، وصدقوه جيل بعد جيل تسلموه، وتحت رايته اهتفوا يحيى العالم.
حضارة يصنعها الرجال، رئيس زعيم، رجال مصر وشبابها وجنودها البواسل. بدعم من كل مصري ومصرية، وبهمة وإصرار وعزيمة قوية.
حفظ الله مصر وحفظ الله شعب مصر، ووفقكم الله لما فيه خير مصر والمصريين، وسر على بركة الله. ولا أستطيع إلا أن أقول الحمد لله. وتنفذ يا فندم زي ما قلت لسيادتك في المرة الأخيرة، تنفذ.
مدة أيام تقع لتنفيذ المشروع 36 شهر 3 سنة. هي سنة وتنفذ إن شاء الله.
وبعد مرور عام واحد فقط ندعو سيادتكم للتوقيع على وثيقة أمر بدء تشغيل قناة السويس الجديدة على بركة الله، فلتتفضل.
صنع المصريون من الأحلام واقعاً ومن المستقبل تقدماً.
قدرنا في سنة واحدة.
قدرنا. They did it.
قدرنا
قدرنا
قدرنا.
قدرنا في سنة واحدة.
قناة السويس الجديدة تغير خريطة العالم وتخدم الإنسان أينما كان.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. على بركة الله نأذن نحن عبد الفتاح السيسي رئيس جمهورية مصر العربية ببدء تشغيل قناة السويس الجديدة. وتحيا مصر وتحيا شعوب العالم.
فرانا وعد أمجادهم بتتكرر.
مين ده اللي يقدر يمنع المصر اما بيقرر؟
أحفاد فرانا وعد أمجادهم بتتكرر.
أنا بالتمام ودي خطوتين فيهم أمل قدام عينينا، الحلم كان مين فينا يتصور.
وتم افتتاح قناة السويس الجديدة. لقد كانت بابا من 1000 باب وباب. سوف يتم افتتاحه بقرار من زعيم وبفضل شعب عظيم.
So where vessels used to spend over days and weeks waiting for their chance to be cleared, in the once single-lane Suez Canal, now there is no more waiting. It cuts the number of days spent waiting to just a few hours. The 72-kilometer canal now allows for a two-way traffic, and it is the lifeguard of the Egyptian economy, a gift created to the world through Egyptian commitment and sweat, a show of resilience which, once the linked development project around it are complete, will automatically change the landscape of Egyptian social and economic life. With a population of over 92 million inhabitants, the Arab Republic of Egypt is the most populous country in North Africa, third most populous behind Nigeria and Ethiopia. Maybe this continued growth in population is the reason Egypt is continuously inspired to preserve its history and yet develop its economy into one of the largest and most diversified in the Middle East. With significant cultural, political, and military influence in North Africa, the Middle East, and the Muslim world, Egypt says Africa is of a paramount importance to Egyptian national security concerns, and it comes on top of Egypt's foreign policy priorities. Africa is the strategic depth of Egypt and the main source of life. The Nile River passes through many African countries before it enters Egypt. Current challenges faced by the African countries therefore dictate the importance of cooperation.
Sud de la Côte d'Ivoire, du Cameroun,
Maria de Sudan, from Zambia,
from the Republic of Namibia,
République démocratique du Congo,
from Nigeria,
je viens du Togo,
je suis béninois,
du Burkina Faso,
from Ghana,
burundaise,
Tanzania,
du Tchad,
du Gambie,
du Mali,
from Zimbabwe,
comorienne,
guinéenne, gabonais de nationalité,
du Sénégal.
Such challenges as transborders cannot be addressed unilaterally without collaboration with regional players. And Egypt seems to be saying, "Come ye Africa, let's work together for a united development in all sectors, including increased military and security cooperation, as well as in the fight to combat terrorism."